Okay, very good. Excellent. Okay, everybody, we are almost at the end of the summit, but it's not the least thing you're getting. It's definitely not least is last. Not at all. We're coming back to fundamentals, which I think is extremely important because Elizabeth Bloch from New Zealand is going to talk to us about niche or niche clarity. She will let me know how she pronounces it. But you know what? This is something that a lot of people get wrong. They think they can do everything for everybody or anything for everybody. And they might be right. They might be right that they could help everybody. Okay. But in the big sea of coaches and in this world, it is very hard to stand out if you want to be everything for everybody. And Liz will tell us a little more about it. I want to introduce you to her after I'm telling you, these speakers here have been so incredible in adding their value to the summit and with the gifts they're giving us. So if you haven't yet signed up to be a VIP, which is rocking up like a CEO and take a 90 silver investment to get an ROI of potentially over 13 grand, just if you would take all of these gifts for yourself. That's how we are now at over $13,000. Wow. It's becoming a no-brainer, right? So Liz, thank you so much for coming here from so far away. Thank you. And look what the internet makes possible. Yes. I'm really happy to have you here on our summit and have you speak about niche clarity.
Hey, I do say niche, and I know that some Americans go niche because the riches is in the niches, but I will be saying the word niche. So if you need to say niche, just do a translation in your head. So thank you for inviting me, Dr. Irene. It's just amazing that you've put on this summit. The quality of the speakers has been huge. And yeah, if you haven't signed up for that VIP deal, I don't know what you're waiting for. I know my guys couldn't use the link, so hopefully they will find this after this in the social media as well. So I'm Liz, and I created an organization here down under called Life and Business Fundamentals. And actually it was interesting because you use the word fundamentals because I really believe business is very fundamental. There are some simple steps that you need to carry out and execute to create your business. And those steps don't actually change. What changes is the way we think about the steps. And like you mentioned, one of the first areas that I find a lot of clients get stuck on, or a lot of prospective business owners get stuck on, is this thing that we like to call niche. And really and simply, all a niche is it's a specialization. It allows you to pick something that you're good at, and it doesn't necessarily need to be your passion, because here's again where some people go wrong. They think their niche has to be their passion. And the reality is it doesn't. It just has to be something that you are 100% comfortable, confident, and happy in, and find yourself talking about a lot. And here's the thing. You all know what your niche is. It's as simple as that. You already know what it is. The reason you have niche drama is because your heart and your head are basically at war with each other. And I actually like to think of it as though when you're thinking to yourself, but I don't know what my niche is, and you're getting all caught up in it, that it's just resistance. And we typically have this resistance when we are fighting with our dream, because your dream wants you to be in this area, but you've got some doubt within yourself. And so that to me is a niche. It's just a specialization of an area that you're in. If you're in the coaching world, then there's three main ones: money, health, and oh heck, I forget the third one, wellness, I think it is. So that's pretty specific. If you're in manufacturing, if you're in product development, the list is endless.
I think what you just said was like the first time I heard this.
Yeah.
You don't have to have it a passion, and it can still be your niche.
Yes. Because,
can you expand on that? Why? Yeah. I mean, you said you're being happy about it, you know about it, you're going deeper in it because you want to. Yes. Is that not the same thing as having a passion for it?
No, because a lot of people's passions aren't money making. And this is the difference
Okay.
between running your business. Why are we running our businesses? We're running our businesses to make money. Now, even if you're one of those people that think money is evil and you've got those sorts of thoughts, when you're running a business, even a non-profit, it has to turn a profit. You have to be able to create money. Passions sometimes don't convert to money. And that's why I say it doesn't need to be your passion, because a lot of coaches, a lot of business coaches out there are saying your niche should be something you're passionate about. Now, my passion is horses. I ride horses. I'm a dressage rider. Can I make money from dressage? Me specifically? No. Because my superpower is actually I'm a program manager. I'm a project manager. I can help people create something out of nothing, I should say. I can create plans. I help them strategically organize not only their thinking, but their businesses to create the results that they want. Is that my passion? Not as much as horses, but am I super good at it? Yes. Does it come naturally to me? Yes. Could I talk about it all day long to whomever was going to listen to me? Yes. Can I blog about it? Yes. That's the difference. Is there money in it? Yes. Is there money in dressage? Yes, but not for me. And I know that because I'm aware of that, right? It wouldn't be my passion if I turned it into my business, because it would suddenly have to owe me something. And I don't want my horse passion to owe me anything. So that's
Oh,
how
I think this is just an incredibly powerful distinction.
Mm.
And I'm happy to learn that you say your superpower is actually being able to create and lead and manage complex projects.
Yes.
Because you can turn them into clear and concise, actionable steps, which is something that a lot of people are having trouble with, right?
Right.
I know how it is in my husband's manufacturing business. The project management is one of the most important aspects of that business, especially because you have to deliver on time, and you have to be within the budget.
Correct.
You have to be on with it has to click with your team members or your employees. All of this has to work together, and the product management is one of the most important things of running a business. And many people, like you're saying, this is your superpower, would say, okay, this is definitely something that you can monetize.
Yes, definitely.
Right? But
if
other people, they say, I hate it. And that's why you can monetize it. You need her to do that for you.
Correct. And here's the interesting thing about that. If it took me, when I decided to leave the corporate world and create my coaching practice, because I've been a certified coach since 2002, but I was not ready to create my own business, because creating your own business is really creating yourself. You will know this, right? If you're going to step into being an entrepreneur, your whole life has to become entrepreneurial. You can't be one thing in your entrepreneurial business and not in your personal life. And so I knew I had a truckload of work to do on me before I could create my business. So when I did decide to go permanent full-time in my coaching practice, I actually didn't choose my superpower as my niche. I chose procrastination and perfectionism, because that also stops a lot of people from progressing. Because I didn't choose project management and what I do very easily, which take overwhelm off people and just create focused, tangible steps, because that's what I had done for over 20 years in the corporate world. And I didn't value that skill anymore, because for me it was as easy as breathing. It didn't challenge me to create plans, to create structure, to create organization from chaos, because I spent my life doing it. And it wasn't until about 7-8 months into my coaching business that I suddenly realized I was missing an opportunity, and hence I now business coach.
So this is, again, very interesting to me to hear, because you're saying this is your superpower, not even that turned into your niche. Yes. And you're saying you were like at the stage of, been there, done that. It doesn't really challenge me anymore. It doesn't fuel me anymore. Correct. But when you're saying you're talking about procrastination and perfectionism, that kind of, to me, connects again with the project management, because you gotta be a little bit of a freaking perfectionist to excel in project management.
Yes.
And you can't really be a procrastinator if something has to be done on time and there's
Correct.
deadlines
Correct.
and all that stuff coming onto
Yes.
you. So
Yes.
I think you're kind of marrying the two things anyway.
Well, it's all part and parcel of the same thing, and the same for dressage, to be fair. And it's actually the same for most things. And what I realized as I progressed through building my business is that the reason I didn't want to go out and be a business coach with project management as my lead superpower was because for me, it was no longer exciting. And all of the business coaches kept telling me, it's got to excite you. You've got to be passionate about it. And that's where I went into my own version of niche drama. And procrastination and perfectionism is something I've always had to conquer in myself. So it goes back to what I said earlier about being your future self. Who is the CEO of your business? Well, the CEO of your business should not be in procrastination. They should not be in perfectionism, right? They should have a clear, concise plan, which they tweak, they tailor, they can alter, but the plan is the plan. And yeah, that's why all roads led back to it. And now I embrace it because it enables me to really help those that aren't great at planning, because there are so many that aren't. There are so many people that can't pull plans together, and they don't treat their businesses, particularly in the first 1 to 5 years, as a business. They're treating it as a hobby without knowing it because they're not structured, they're not organized, they're not being the CEO. They haven't even sometimes defined their niche to the lowest level so that they can then define who and what problems they solve for, which is a key thing to why you must really be quite prescriptive in your niche.
So yeah, I mean, like you said, if you don't treat your business like a business, and actually, yes, also look at the numbers and whatever, and get very clear on what you bring to people, who you're serving, what you're serving them with, then you really don't have a business.
No, because
you have a hobby.
Yeah, you think about it. When we're building a practice, and I'll talk specifically to those of us who are in the coaching and consulting industries, because that's the industry that I work within, so I know that best. So if you think about a newbie coach or consultant just starting out, they have great ideas, they have a great vision, and they are motivated. But where they sometimes go wrong is they forget that it won't happen overnight, because there are those unique unicorns out there, bless them, who are able to create their 5, 6, 7-figure businesses in a very short period of time, but the majority don't. And so what they have to do, in my opinion, is you have to create a plan. You have to be very specific about the niche, simply so you can then drill right down on, well, who is my ideal client? What problem do I solve for them? And then go about the task of marketing to them. And that is the task where numbers matter, because we can market to them in this day and age through the beautiful power of the internet, as well as go to in-person events. But you have to market consistently using the language of the person you're solving the problem to, so they can connect with you. That doesn't happen in your first email or your first opt-in page or your first webinar or your first in-person event. That might not happen until you've tried it 100 times and you've finessed it. So if you're not running your business with measurable results, i.e., well, I sent out 17 emails and only one was opened, how do you know you're improving? And if you're not using the same problem to solve for the same type of person, how do you know your copy's landing? What are you evaluating your business on? Because if you're winging it, your results don't stack up, and you can't wing yourself into 6 and 7 figures. You can wing yourself into low 4s, some 5s, but I've never seen anybody grow and scale without being very specific and measured about what they did in their business and the results they got.
Well, I think you just mentioned a very important point here. I mean, yes, first of all, but with the definition of what is a niche actually, when is a niche this large or is it that small?
Yes.
What is a niche? And
Yeah.
why do you have to have one? Well, like you said, if you can't even compare or analyze what's working or not, how do you know what to do?
Correct. How do you improve? How do you build? So I work with people who come to me and they've been in their coaching businesses as a hobby on the side for maybe 18, 19 months and made pennies in the dollar. They've not made real money. And then I'll talk to them about, so tell me over the last 18 months, what have you been doing? And it's scattergun approach. There's no real growth model insofar as, well, I've put this email out and I reviewed the results, because the evaluation side of things was never there, because something that I just do, and it's probably because I've been a project manager for so many years, is I always evaluate. So what went well, what didn't go so well, and what can I improve? Those are the three benchmarks I live by, because everything that I do, I need to evaluate to determine the impact it had or didn't have, so I can determine how to improve it, or say, hey, that went really, really well. And the more specific I get, the easier that comparison, that analysis becomes, because I keep building from the same page and not from 6 different pages, as it were. Some people have 5 different offers at any one time. How do you improve if you've got 5? I like to tell everybody, start with one simple offer. What is it you help somebody with, and how do you do it? One simple offer. When that offer works, expand.
And when you're saying you have to be specific, otherwise you can't, maybe, in Facebook ads, whatever, it's split testing, right?
Yes.
Otherwise you can analyze and see what works better, what doesn't really work so well. How specific do you actually have to get?
This is the interesting
thing.
thing.
Find out
Yeah.
what specificity that is.
To me, the more specific you get, the better. Here's a reason why. Let's say that you decide to become a quit smoking coach, and you are also an NLP and hypnotherapist. So you have on your advertising that you are a hypnotherapist, you do NLP, and you can help people. John is out there looking for somebody to help him quit smoking. So there's Jane, and Jane has got up on her page, NLP, hypnotist, she can help anybody give up anything. And she mentions smoking, weight loss, whatever. Then you've got Michael. Michael writes on his pages, I'm a quit smoking specialist. I use hypnotherapy. I help people stop smoking with proven strategies. Who's he going to click on? Who's he going to look for? He's going to look for the person that's telling him that they can solve his particular problem. Could Jane, who is more broad and generic and trying to market to everybody, solve his problem? Probably, 100% she could. But he, as the client, prospective client, has his problem. He's done the Google search on I want to quit smoking. Who's he going to get fed back? That's why it's the more specific you could get, the more keywords you can get, the more drilled down you can get, even in terms of the ideal client avatar, as we call it, because you may want to only market to females over the age of 40 who have had no kids, who are in the corporate world, who want to lose weight without going to the gym. That's very specific, as opposed to anybody who wants to lose weight. So I just feel...
You know what? I love what you said there with this example, because that I just triggered a memory. It's like, okay, this is just like when you're going to a doctor, right?
Yes.
I'm a retired gynecologist. If you have an issue with your gut, or you have an issue with your knee, I don't expect you to come to me, although I could definitely counsel you on that, because, we all have a generalist's foundation. We have to have that. We have to learn about this, but I'm not specialized in this area. So I will tell you, if you have a knee issue, go to an orthopedic surgeon. I may be telling you or asking you a few questions first to find out what niche issue that could be, and then refer you. But if you're coming to me and say you have problems in menopause or whatever, then I'm your gal, right? So that's exactly what it is. Being a specialist.
Yes.
And it makes it so much easier for people to find you.
Yes. And here's the thing with that, because there may be somebody out there that's thinking, but then what about the other people? And they go into FOMO, fear of missing out. Here's the trick with that, though. if you're marketing specifically as drilled down as that, and this person is still interested in you, is still following you, is still watching you, and they feel connected to you, they still reach out to you. Even though they may not be your ideal avatar, they still find you. But if you start, like, I loved your, because you're a gynecologist, so if you did start saying, I can help anybody with any medical problem, it's a shooting match. You won't get the right clients.
And you don't sound credible either.
No, that's
right?
also true. Yes, because we like to say, I'm still a bit out on the fence of this word expert and authority, because yes, if you read and you research, then everybody says the reason you drill down on a niche is so you can become an expert and an authority in a specific area. But when you're an expert in authoritative energy, people feel like they're being lectured. And I find that sometimes doesn't create that lovely connection that we as coaches and consultants need to create. And so I just like to think that you know your topic so well that you can talk about it in a way that anybody can understand what it is you're problem solving for. Because to me, that's the true test of a guru. A guru can tell anybody about his chosen field in a language that that person can understand, whether they're at the top of the education tree or the bottom of it in that field. And that, I think, is the energy you want to adopt, the energy of being able to help people understand, transform, and change.
So would you prefer rather to be called a guru than an expert?
I don't know that I have a title for what I like, but I don't. I just,
exactly,
for me,
right? It's kind of, I feel like
nice.
Guru has almost a little bit of a negative connotation.
Yes,
you think, yeah, all those big gurus out there.
Yes.
I think it's hard.
An IT
so what
term,
title do we choose?
Yeah.
Really,
because in IT we also call people who really understand different, because my background is IT project management, who really understand products and systems intimately. We call them gurus. And the way that I could always figure out if somebody really knew their stuff, so as a project manager, my job was not to know the infinite detail of every product or every system or every network connection. It was to be able to manage the person who did. And so one way I could always filter it out was, well, can you make me understand what you're doing? Because I have enough background to understand it at a good level, then I know you know your stuff. If you can't, and I'm sitting there bewildered 20 minutes later, then I know you don't know your stuff well enough to help me yet.
Very good point.
Yeah.
That's just semantics, I think. In the end, it doesn't matter what you're calling yourself, but if you know your things in and out, that is the energy you want to bring to the table, right? To really know your stuff in depth and be able to explain it in simple terms to a layperson.
Exactly. Or to somebody who wants the help and they don't. Because this is the other thing we all know, is that you don't sell them what they need. You sell them what they want. And so sometimes what you're transforming them into isn't what they thought they wanted or needed, but it's who they need to become. And that's an interesting thing in our business, where we are transforming people and creating change for them. It's, that's why we're in the best business in the world, if you ask me.
Oh, it certainly is one of the most rewarding, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying everybody should have a niche, right?
Especially if you're starting out, because it just goes back to being able to evaluate and build to grow. And if you're marketing to everybody, you're not marketing to anybody, and you're going to find it a lot slower. You should name your ideal avatar. You should have a name for them. You should know them so well. You should know where they hang out. You should know how they speak. You should know what they're interested in, what they read, what they do with their spare time, because when you market to them, you have to use their language to create that connection. So I like to name them. I've got a couple that I name, and whenever I'm writing something, I'm writing specifically to them, which blows a lot of my newbie coaches' minds, because they think they have to go so wide. But when they adapt and change and they start to specifically market to one person, things take off, because they can then change and adapt wording. on the
So
same topic.
how do you find out like about this person, this avatar, this ideal client? How do you find out who that person is? I mean, naming them is one thing, but how do you really find out what they like, where they hang out, what they like to do, what are they looking for, all that stuff? How do you do that?
So once you understand your niche, then you can go and do some market research in it. So let's say, for sake of argument, you are a weight loss coach and you want to work specifically with females and you want to work specifically with younger females. So you want to go with 20 to 25-year-olds. So you will go and do some market research. You may go and hang out in some actual gyms. You may go online and join different Facebook groups, different Instagrams, find people who are already in that space, mentors, if you will, who are already in that space, who are already doing well, and you start to watch them. And what you're watching is not necessarily how the I want to say guru for some reason, how the influencer is operating. What you're watching for is the responses to her client base or his client base. How are they replying to? What words and language are they using? What are they sharing? Because those are your clients. And there are so many people in this world. There are more than enough clients for everybody. The fear of compare and despair is just a fear. There's more than enough. People will connect with you. So if you start your market research in that way, and then when you create your own social media environment, or if you're still doing it in person and you're going out and networking, you will get familiar with being curious enough about your ideal customer in your niche space that you're going to start asking similar questions each and every time you meet somebody in this market research phase. And you will start to pull together a really good spreadsheet. Project management hat comes on again. Spreadsheet which outlines, you know, what did these people all say to you? What was their problem? How did they voice their problem? What were their challenges? What did they do about it? What wasn't working for them? How do they speak about the wish to change? What words do they use? What are the constraints that they feel they have? Because we all know the three main ones, which is money, time, and ability, which are just excuses because we've all got the same 24 hours and we all have unlimited potential when it comes to money. So we all know those are just objections, but how do you get them over them? What do you need to do to inspire them into action? And that's your market research phase. And as you grow your business, because you're constantly marketing to them and talking to them, you're going to expand your ideal avatar spreadsheet of knowledge. And as you get your own clients are going to educate you as well. Because remember, we're always open, we're always curious, we're always serving. So we're always learning and growing.
Exactly. I mean, the information, probably the best information will be coming from the clients or the prospects, right? Because they can tell you in their own words what they're afraid of, what they would need, what they're looking for.
Correct.
So let's assume an entrepreneur has chosen a niche based on a passion, but it doesn't work out. What then?
So that's when they will go into what I usually call a bit more niche drama. And then the reason, I always like to think that there are three main reasons why a business isn't working. And one of the things that I like to remind everybody is you are in a business. It's not your hobby, it's your business. So there will be three reasons why it's not working. Promise you, one of them is not your niche. So it is either you've got a marketing problem, you've got a sales problem, or you have a CEO problem. So those will be the three things we need to look at. If your niche is specific enough, and if you are talking to an ideal customer enough that you're not getting any consults booked, then you know you've got a marketing problem because you're not creating connection enough to get them on the phone or to get them to book in to come and see you. If you are getting consults regularly, then you know you don't have a marketing problem, you've got a sales problem because you're not able to convert them into paying clients. If you actually don't have any consults and you don't have any clients, you have a CEO problem. And that means that you, as the business owner, are probably, this is a gross generalization, but you're probably not running your business as a business. You're probably using a scattergun, let's just see what happens approach. You're doing too many things potentially, or not enough things. But that's where we would go to. We would actually stop and we would look, because the problem is never the niche. It's never the niche. We think it's the niche. Our brains are going to tell us it's your niche, it's your niche. But if you have narrowed down and focused enough, and if you know your ideal client and you still aren't getting traction, it'll be one of those other three things that we need to go in and solve for.
Yes, I have heard the most outrageous successes in niches nobody would think they would be successful at. Like, remember that guy that brings in, I'm not even sure now exactly, but like 50 grand a month by teaching people how to do handstands properly.
Yeah.
Probably targeting all those CrossFit people, CrossFit nerds that want to do the handstand push-ups at the end, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you know what, like you said, it's probably not the niche. It's either your marketing, or it's your sales, or it's you.
It's the CEO.
As the CEO.
And that to me is one of the biggest, that's the biggest demand that I have for my time, is actually in the CEO business. It's teaching people to run their businesses as a business, to set up KPIs, to set up standards, to set up systems, and to hold their hand whilst we walk through it. Because this is why I find it interesting about my superpower. I do this stuff without any thought. It doesn't tax me. It doesn't really stress me. I just love solving somebody's problem for them. Other people find project planning, building a system, building repeatable, scalable systems hard because they've never done it before. But because I spent 20 plus years doing it in big corporates, it's not hard for me. And that's why it's such an interesting thing when people tell me that I'm not good at anything. Because it's just, you don't realize you're great at it.
So are you saying this is actually the thing you do as a business coach, is helping them through these processes?
Yes.
Or if you start on the very bottom with, hey, people, first you need to identify your niche. What is it exactly that you do for your clients?
Right. And well, I always start with niche, which is why we're talking about niche, because even if somebody comes to me and they've been in business for 2 years and they've got a 5-figure turnover, but they can't get to 6 or 7, I still want to know about their niche. I want them to explain their niche to me in a way that I will understand, and I want them to explain to me who their ideal customer is in a way that I get it. Because if they can explain that clearly, we can tick the niche box. There is no more niche drama. Now, I still believe that niche drama is just that, drama. It's indecision. And indecision, I believe, is simply a decision not to do anything. So it all ties back up together. But if I can tick the niche box for them and I can tick the ideal customer for them, then we start to look at one of those 3 different problems: marketing, sales, or CEO. And then depending on what comes out of that and what shapes out of that, we go to work. And I guess I'm a little bit different to a lot of business coaches because of the way that I have 100% responsibility for my clients, which as coaches we're told not to. It's up to the individual. But I market to 40-plus-year-old females and males. I market to people who will have absolutely got subconscious brains that work on autopilot and sometimes sabotage them. I bring awareness to that. And that's my job. So my job is to help them understand that, yeah, you signed up for these 52,000 courses and you didn't complete any of them, but that's not your fault. It's just the way your brain is wired. So I'm going to hold your hand, and here is your tangible project plan to get your business operating, because the key thing here is your business. We want your business to be profitable, whilst I still sit with you and explain to you in a way that I'm hoping you will become aware of where you're letting yourself down, where things aren't working because of a thought you may be having or an action you may be taking. And so I handhold them through that process, because there's a lot of change you have to do as a 40-year-old that you don't do when you're a 20-year-old, because you have to unwire your brain, particularly if you've never been an entrepreneur before, which is why it took me so long to get to the point where I was at, because it was all inner transformation work I had to do, not really businessy stuff, CEO stuff.
That is exactly what one of the other speakers also said. Your perfect client is likely you a few years back, before you had to, or you did go through the transformation that you have been making up to now, that you're in this journey now, that you know from scratch, you know how it is to be there and have done that and have suffered through it. And this is why when you're saying you're holding their hand, do you only do one-on-one work, or do you have courses, or do you have,
no, at the
we're
moment,
speaking of having different offers. So
at the moment, one-on-one is my only offer. It's all I offer. Yeah. And the reason I still want to work one-on-one is because for me, I'm working with people that I know have a passion and a dream inside of them and a vision. And it's something they've probably known since they were a little kid. But every time they've tried it, they've fallen short. So they need a lot more one-on-one guidance. I typically work with them every single day. Not even every week, every single day, because we have to reprogram the brain. And I find
this is gold, people. This is gold. Whoever who's listening and whoever listens to the recording, this is gold. You have to reprogram the brain. I mean, this is where I'm coming from too. I studied neuroscience, extensively. In the end, it all comes back to that, because your brain, your subconscious will sabotage you. You might not even notice.
Correct. You don't know.
Nothing works. It's the need.
Correct, because niche grammar is easy. Yes. Because we always want to point at something. And that to me was the biggest thing, is that if you look over you, and remember, my ideal client is an older person. They are not the young whippersnappers. No offense to you all young ones, but you haven't lived long enough to build up some of these bad patterns that we don't even know we built up. This is the thing. We're not even conscious of them, as you all know more about the brain than I do. But the brain is actually one of my passions now that I understand it a little bit better. And so what we have to do is we have to face that brain every single day. We have to become aware of, I have this mantra, my thoughts become my feelings, which create my actions and my results. So if my thought is, oh, I just don't know how to do this job, how am I going to feel? Defeated.
Crappy.
And if I'm feeling crappy, defeated, what are my actions?
None.
Correct. So what's
Avoidance.
my result? No business. So I have to go all the way back to my thought to create my result, because my results and my thoughts are intertwined. They are absolutely 100% in sync with one another. So I can't push you into creating a business if your brain is telling you things that aren't true, because your brain does tell you things that aren't true. Everyone be aware, 60,000 thoughts a day, most of them aren't true. It's just things we've thought every single day and built up beliefs on, and it's subconscious. That's my work. So although I can help project plan, I can help you build opt-in pages that convert, I can help you with your copy, I can help you with your marketing, I can point out what's not working, I can keep you on track, I can keep you to a schedule, because every 90 days we have at least one, if not two, profit goals that we want to make, because we're in business. We're not here for the fun of it. We want to make money. I know 90% of it is actually going to be how are you thinking and feeling.
Exactly, because that's, even Tony Robbins says 80% is mindset, right?
Yes.
This is a person that I would call a guru.
Yes.
He really knows what the heck he's talking about. And the Carnegie Institute of Technology also said 85% of financial success of any business is mindset.
Correct.
And we know from neuroscience, and this is science, it's not woo-woo, that yes, your thoughts create your reality.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Oh, exactly, 100%.
And here's the sad thing to any of my beautiful people out there who are considering a niche and using the word mindset in it. It will not sell. which is the most ironic thing on the platform. People will not invest in a mindset change because subconsciously they don't believe their problem is their mindset. Their problem is, I can't get clients. Their problem is, I can't get leads. Their problem is, I'm not making money. Their problem is, I don't know what my niche is. What they need is to become aware of the thought that creates that thinking.
The problem with that is, if I may expand on this,
Yes,
the subconscious mind won't like it that you think these thoughts.
correct.
So it will resent them or resist them when a coach will tell you about its mindset. You will say, no, nothing's wrong with my mindset. And the other thing is, which is also true, and that's pretty crazy, if you don't have the neural pathways to think these certain thoughts, you cannot. You simply cannot. It's like a person who is colorblind. You can't freaking make them see the colors that you see. Can't.
All you can do is bring awareness. I really believe coaching is selling, selling is coaching. That's what I really believe. And all we're trying to do is bring awareness to the brain. So if you're not getting results, you're thinking something. What are you thinking? And we get them to tell us. They have to tell us. We can't tell them. And that's quite a tough thing to learn.
That is like the art of coaching, right? To get them to their answers, to get them to their truth or to their epiphanies. And that's why it's almost impossible to do it on your own, because you can't step outside of your shadow. You can't get rid of your brain. You can't step outside of your brain. You need somebody else to shine a light and give another angle, give another perspective, or you won't be able to do it.
And it's been my experience that sometimes you need that help every single day. And so I know a lot of people who have hired a lot of very expensive business coaches because they're now my clients, and they told me it didn't work. She wasn't or he wasn't good enough. And I have to be very, very careful not to point out the fact that at the end of the day, the result wasn't there because of something that you were actually doing. Because this is going to sound a bit odd, but business coaches all tell you to do the same thing when you build an online business, because there are only 5 or 6 ways to build a successful online business. The process isn't very different no matter which business coach you go to. That is just fact. Where I try to differentiate is that I understand that we all know the process, we all know the system. If you are not able to follow it on a daily basis because of some of the work that you need to do, then you need somebody to help you, like you say, handhold you and bring the awareness to it. Which is why for me, I don't offer a course, because I could easily come out with an 8-week boot camp. Let's build to your five figure, because the steps are the same. But I know that 95% of people won't complete that course. I know 95% of people won't be successful because our industry statistics have told us that. Well, those results aren't good enough for me. They don't sit well with me. And by the way, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of courses in my digital library gathering dust. I prefer to work one-on-one and actually check in with you and make progress with you when you need help, so that you know you're not waiting for 2 weeks before you can talk to your coach again. Because of the nature of the work that I do, that doesn't mean that everybody needs to do that model, because the courses do work for people. That's my niche area. That's what I've decided my ideal customer needs. And it's like weight loss. You know, it's like anything. You will know this. Anything to do with human behavior, human change.
Yes, it's building a habit.
Yes.
So after that habit goes into the subconscious mind, because the brain will be willing to learn. That's its job, is to have you survive the best way possible. So if it's a better way, it will go there, but it needs to be convincing over and over, because otherwise these undercurrent patterns will be running anyway.
And that's what, so triggers and resistances, and I think everybody feels a trigger and a resistance. Triggers and resistance is simply pointing out a fear Or, like I mentioned earlier, and I love this, and I don't remember where I learnt it from, but when somebody was talking to resistance, they just basically said it's yourself telling you that you're not going for your dreams anymore. So when you know you should do a webinar, but you can't do the webinar, but you know you should, and you're resisting it, it's your dreams are calling you and you're saying no. But you know you should do it.
Exactly, but you can't if you don't have help.
And you're
because you can't jump over your own shadow.
Correct. And I truly think if you're in the coaching and consulting business and you don't have your own coach or consultant, then you've got to look in the mirror as well, because you're trying to tell people that they need help and they need support and they need to be mentored, guided, coached, counseled through, but you're okay on your own. Yeah.
Exactly. And that goes into the credibility factor again, right?
Yes. Maybe because
that was so enlightening. That was so cool. And I love that you say you have this one offer where you are just top notch in it and you help people there on a daily basis actually implement that project plan that you are working out with them.
Yep.
I just want you to be my coach. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm just so lucky. It's the best job in the world, isn't it? Can you imagine how great it is to take somebody fledgling and build their 6-7 figure business with them as part of their growth? We're so lucky to do our jobs.
It's the best. And I also know, Liz, thank you so much that you are contributing a free gift to all our attendees and the people on the summit, which is the first 90 days in business, a project planner.
Yes. So this is just a document that outlines the steps. And like I said, there's nothing new in here. Everybody knows the steps. Everybody. How you implement them is the trick.
Exactly. I will be putting this link, and you tell me if this is the correct one, right here in the chat box. So people can copy that one and really look at it it's like that's the way it's been done. But if you feel a resistance in one of those steps, or you're not sure how or why, it's not your fault. It's really your brain. It's what we call mindset, but it's actually really the scientific brain. It's the physiological, biological brain. It's not something out there woo in the universe. It is your brain.
Synapses.
Here, prefrontal cortex, memory, monkey brain inside.
Your survival brain's what screws us up, right?
Yeah.
Procedural brain that's done things and it does things.
That's what we are here calling this the monkey brain, right? Or the reptilian brain.
Yes.
The ones that even, like lesser organisms, they don't have such a big temporal lobe and prefrontal cortex have. So. Yes. Oh, very good. I loved what you brought us all back to fundamentals here on this summit, on almost the close of the summit. And I thank you so much for doing this from so far away. And by the way, what time is it over there?
Oh, it's 12:32 in the afternoon.
Okay, so like.
But the next day, I'm in the future.
Midday, sunny midday. While here it's getting dark here on the East Coast of the United States. We're at 6:30 p.m. And there would actually have been one more speaker at 6:30. I don't see her here yet, but I will let you go, Liz, and I'll definitely be in touch. So thank you so much for doing this.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.